Well, we're back at the shop with the 68 Cougar, continuing with the rust removal, and just letting you know one more time why you never want to buy a car from Wisconsin. This is the back end. We thought we'd just do a bunch of little pieces and patch, and it just got to be so messy looking. I just had to keep peeling away at the layers. And this is a reinforcement area where the bumper, which just bolts to the body, would need to go to a reinforcement structure. So the first piece of floor pan goes underneath here. And I'll do these plug welds to the frame. Then another reinforcement plate goes underneath here. So then this will lock this whole area with thicker metal, and if you got hit, it doubles up the thickness of the steel and makes it stronger. The owner of the Cougar originally came in to have his engine compartment detailed. So after taking the engine tranny out and finding out that the engine was worn out, the tranny, he decided he should go with overdrive. He wants this area still detailed, but it was all full of undercoating, and all this has to be taken out and start off with primer, and then it can be painted semi-gloss black in the engine bay area. The rest of the car is going to be painted like a creamy white. But every little nook and cranny has to get all that undercoating out and cleaned so that primer will have good adhesion, and then you can build up with regular paint, or else it's going to look really cobbled. There's no sense in doing it unless you get it all smoothed out. Progress is coming along on the trunk area where it was rusted. If you take a look on the inside, you'll see where this was all rusted, and finally had to cut it all away and just welded it in. It's all, you know, the weld just frazzles up as you're hitting rust and stuff. That'll all be ground down. Holes relocated for the new gas tank he's buying, and this side needs a patch too. So it's just a piece cut out, and gotta fit it in from underneath. This side will end up being filled in here, and then there's a piece that cuts across the back, and then there's a little trim piece where the sail panel bolts on, but I don't even want to put those on until we get these patches, which I didn't think I was even going to be getting involved in, that connect from the inner fender well down to the quarters that he doesn't want to repair. So that's going to be a job trying to connect those two. So progress was made in the engine bay area, because the engine will be showing up and we've got to get this all painted. So it was hours and hours and hours of removing all this tar, some type of undercoating, because petroleum product, and wire wheeling it out, using lacquer thinner and getting it all washed down. Then we ended up priming it with this metal etch primer, and then we're going to do regular fill primer, and then they're going to paint it the black. You guys could call in and vote. Do you think it should be the same color as the car, or do you think it should be black on the inside? I say it should be the same color as the car. They want to have it black, like the original.
Car's going to be white?
It's going to be white. Antique white. Malt mechanic thought it would be important for young viewers to check out this old piece of equipment, but they still make these things. In fact, they make better ones. They're called a throatless shear. This one's not a throatless, it's just a regular shear. It's got like a Whitney punch on it. And you can buy them from certain tool manufacturers. When you're working with sheet metal, instead of drilling holes and having the sheet metal fly around, then you gotta file burrs and grind them off and stuff. You just change these dies, top and bottom, puncture it through. I could get you a piece of sheet metal here. And for added leverage, you put this on here. You just stick this in here. Let's say if you wanted panels to have, it would be mounted to the floor or to the table, but you just fold it through, and then you have a hole. And that way, when you're making a patch and you just want to use rosette welds, or we call them plug welds, you don't have to sit there and drill them. On this side, you can see how you can just shear this off. I think the light's probably in the direction. Instead of using a hand shears, there's one that have a curve in it so that your piece would go beyond and not bang in. This only goes so far, and then you got to try bending the metal to get it to go down. You know what I mean? Just like with the electric scissors and stuff. If you got two people, one person can end up peeling that metal out that is being eliminated. There's a hassle to everything. If you can find used tools in somebody's yard sale or whatever, these things are time savers. The more tools you can get, the more you make your life easier. Right now, the mullet mechanic wanted me to demonstrate how to pick up old tools that one man's junk is another man's treasure. If you come here, you can look at this machine. L-Tech, it was made by Lindy. They don't even make it anymore. It was bought out by ESOB. The machines are way better now. But when you're just working on thin sheet metal for a car, this is all you would need. And you're supposed to wear gloves too. But you can see that with this piece of equipment, you can take curves, press down. Okay, you can see this. I just wrote mullet. Everybody's seen plasma cutters work before, but they come in handy when you can't get a cut-off wheel in there or an air saw or whatever. You can just reach down, get underneath. Let's say if you're trying to get a tranny to fit into a firewall interference, and you can cut that out and then make a new patch for it. Just got to watch out for sparks if you got any kind of flame, and they come in handy. If you can pick up one cheap, that's all you need, really. You don't need something that can cut through 1 inch of steel, and they don't work as great, but you got to play with it a little bit and it'll work. The way it works is you got to have a dry source of air, so this is like a desiccant, and it dries the air from an old air compressor, and you can adjust this here to control the flow of air, and you just flip on a switch, and then you adjust that air by this gauge right there, and you're good to go. There's some consumable parts on here. There's a cone, an O-ring, and then there's some little parts in here that can go bad. So you gotta get a machine that you can get parts for. I mean, there's all different types of machines, and just like anything, you buy those Chinese parts from Farm and Fleet and stuff, and if anything goes bad and you're in the middle of a project, you can't run down to your local welding shop and expect to get the parts. They don't have them. So you're SOL. You gotta trim it. I'm not that good at it yet. Some guys, the stronger they're, I mean, you can see it's not that hot. But you can grind it after that. Some guys prefer putting a straight edge next to it, and then they can just drag it. Once you've got, you know, the feed going, you can drag it. It works the best. When you're trying to go into it, you get chattery.